Howdy everybody. Well, it's about that time of year to anywhere from, it's what, January 6th or 5th or I don't know, something like that. Anywhere from now till, through February is a good time to cut back your asparagus patches. So I've done other videos about asparagus, but these 4 beds here were all asparagus beds. They are asparagus beds. And I've done other videos showing the growth and kind of the how asparagus grows and how you maintain it and stuff like that. So go back and watch those. So the last video that I did, all this brushy brown crap was green. They call it ferns. It's kind of ferny, real wispy and green and real full. Those are there. You want to leave that at the end of every harvesting season because that's what soaks in the nutrients in the sun and puts the energy into the roots, which is where next year's crop comes from. So you have to do this. You have to let it fern out at least till it turns brown. So this is all clearly good and brittle and brown. What I'm doing, I've already done these 2 beds. You could use a weed eater. You could use I've just got a little clipper. It's just what I had in the greenhouse handy. You could use a shrub, what do you call those?
Cutters.
Cutters. Anything that will cut anything, Chief calls cutters. So inside joke. But shears, I guess, that you would, trim hedges or whatever with. You could do that, cut it off at the ground. There's not a ton here. This is what I have. So this is what I'm going to use. A lot of this is just breaking off at the ground anyway. Now you don't want to pull it out of the ground. You want to cut it because that'll damage the crown. The crown is what's underneath the ground producing next year's food. So I've already done these beds, but basically, pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to sit here and have you watch me do the whole thing, but you just want to cut it off at the ground. And then all this, for me, goes in the pig pen. Pretty simple. The pigs can use it as straw. They're going to eat it. I mean, they're going to chew on it all. It'll also just be straw. It'll mix into the dirt. We've got a little bit of rain, so it's kind of muddy. So this will be real nice. One other thing I'm going to mention is, Chief, come on in here. Watch your step. So these are some of the seed heads, and they were bright red. In some of the plants I already cut down, they had some bright red ones on there. Well, what I do is you could harvest every one of these seeds by hand and then put them in pots and grow, or put them in an area where you want more asparagus. And I've done that. I've got a lot of asparagus. So what I'm doing is these 2 beds are my newer beds. They're planted last year and they're kind of splotchy. So you can see all these red berries that are in here from the plants that I cut down. And as I cut them down, I'd have an armful and I'd just kind of tear the berries off and just lay them in there, right? It'll kind of fill in the bed with more asparagus. And then I throw the fern straw stuff out there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do these 2 beds, and then since I have tree trimming crews that dump wood chips here, I gotta get that irrigation line out of there. I'm just gonna put a thin, it may not look like it, but some of this stuff's already a lot decomposed. So that's what I prefer. It's going to add nutrients into the soil, and it's going to kind of, where this is dirt, you know, nature doesn't want to be bare. Weeds are going to grow, something's going to grow there if it's not covered. So this will break down for the rest of the winter. It'll add nutrients into the soil. It'll insulate the crowns, and it'll prevent any early, winter or early spring weeds from growing. So I just, like I said, and pretty much every year I can do this, because you know it's not a whole ton, and if I put 2 inches of this on right now, come summer, it'll be so broken down it'll be like I put a ½ inch on top. So every year, you know, it just kind of, you just add more and more and more. So I think that covers everything about asparagus. I'm gonna get these 2 beds cut down. All 4 beds will get about 2 inches of wood chips. It'll set the rest of the winter, and probably, depending on the season here in central Oklahoma, come late March, for sure April, early April, the crowns will start busting out of the ground, and it's the first thing to produce, first vegetable to produce every year in our area anyway, by far the first. And these 2 beds back here are well established. I'll harvest on these for probably 3 or 4 months until it gets real hot. July-ish, it'll be just real hot, so I'll let it fern out like this. So anyways, this is how I do asparagus. If you have questions, leave them in the comments, and when we start getting spears coming up here in a few months, we'll do another video. We'll see you then.